Before the game kicks off, here's what the Miami Hurricanes must do to leave Hard Rock Stadium with the dub tonight against Louisville.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and host of Postgame on the Hurricanes Radio Network. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first or your second listen today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're going to bring on in just a second the Postcast King. I know you're going to make him your first late night listen tonight. Right after the game goes final, Miami Hurricanes, Louisville Cardinals. Our man Gries, Jim Grieshaber, is going to be on these channels, Locked On Canes YouTube, Locked On Canes audio channels, and he's going to be breaking down what will hopefully be a big Miami Hurricanes win. Gries, what's your confidence level heading into that 7 o'clock kickoff tonight?
Oh, I mean, just unless a bolt of lightning hits the stadium before the, I don't know. I hate to say things like that because I'm not going to be on the field and coaches and players hate it. They're like, Shut up, you stupid media guy. But literally, it falls under that warning that Mario gave the team earlier this week, not to believe too much of the hype in the press and all the media and things that people are saying around the country about this team. Kind of hard to do, coach, when you're so dominant up front. I heard you say it 100 times, and I've watched every bit of content you've done all week. Always do a fantastic job. But, Alex, this is the difference with this team that we have not seen since when? I want to say 2002, 3-ish, probably even way before that. The dominance up front for this Miami Hurricanes team. It starts in the trenches. I don't know how so many NFL – I heard you compare it to the Dolphins. They went out and bought all the sports cars, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, HN, they drafted him, but you know what I mean? All those weapons, and they can't get him the ball because they can't block anybody, and they can't stop the run, so they don't win games. The University of Miami is exactly the opposite this year. Under Mario Cristobal, you knew they'd be tough on the line of scrimmage. He's as tough as they come, whether you like him or not, and everybody's loving him now. But I think up front, Louisville does have a great pass rush against the schedule they've played. All right. They have not played 5 Miamis. Okay. They've not played Florida State. They've not played Notre Dame. They've not played Florida. They've not played USF. They've not played anybody. So those rankings and all the things in the computer polls and all that stuff, ranking them 13th in the country, they're going to drop like you threw them off the top of the Empire State Building this week, because up front, Miami is so superior to Louisville. We're not even talking about the skill players, right? The one thing Louisville really has going for itself in this game is the Braun brothers. I mean, they were both great players there. They're outstanding coaches. You know what I mean? So they anything they can devise, but even that, and they have a great receiver as well. But when I think about Louisville in this game, they cannot stop the run. So Fletcher he's the highest rated Miami Hurricane offensively on the team. Number 1, Mark Fletcher Jr. Okay. And so Mark Fletcher Jr. averaging over 5 yards a carry. They got away from it against FSU because they stuffed the box. What happens? Carson Beck looks like the Carson Beck we thought we were going to get all along, right? And what we saw glimpses of against Notre Dame. So he played his best game of the season against FSU. But when I really break it down in this game, there's no way Louisville is going to stop Miami's running game. There's no way they're going to have any time. It's going to be 3-step drops all night for Louisville. The pressure is going to be in their face. And they love to throw pick sixes with Miller Moss. So hopefully the Canes can get one of those tonight too.
Yeah, you brought up Louisville does have a couple of really good receivers. I mean, the guy who would be the toughest matchup theoretically is Chris Bell, who's also got the size, and he's been playing really well this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing like the cornerback matchups with him, probably a lot of Xavier Lucas, maybe some O.J. Frederic on him as well. Yeah. And, of course, the big question is, will Miller Moss consistently have enough time to find Bell down the field? You would hope the answer to that is no, but if he does, those individual matchups are going to be good. And then something, Gries, I've been talking about this throughout the week, and we talked with Dalton Pence from Locked On Louisville yesterday. With Louisville's offensive line struggling the way that they are, it's really hurt their running game. Now, normally if everybody was healthy, they've got a really talented 1-2 punch at running back with Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. Duke Watson's going to miss this game, so it's going to be Isaac Brown, and their backup is Keywan Brown. I think he's more of a bigger power back, but Isaac Brown's the really dynamic one. But he's had trouble, finding any holes this year because the holes just haven't been there for him. But I will say with Isaac Brown, just to warn Miami though, if you have a chance to wrap him up, don't be sloppy, don't arm tackle him, because Isaac Brown is talented enough that if you miss one tackle, he can turn it into an 80-yard run. It happened against James Madison when he hadn't done anything all night, and then one guy missed a tackle. He runs for a 78-yard touchdown. So the tackling has got to be on point tonight as well.
Yeah, but the other Brown that they're used to tackling every day in practice is better, and that's Marty Brown. Yeah. And they also are used to tackling Mark Fletcher. So I don't think they're going to have a problem with that.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Any other keys you would add into the mix? Maybe anything we haven't covered yet that Miami's got to take care of tonight?
Man, I hate to say the word, Alex. You know what I'm going to do here. The word drives me crazy. It happens all the time. They're kids. Penalties. Everybody says it's Miami's penalties. It's been disastrous at times this year. They lose their focus in games. They have too many lulls offensively. I want to see them clean this up as the season moves on. You're not going to beat it, and I'm just going to say it, and I hate them like poison. And I have 5 bets on this already. And I'll tell you what, the 5, Alex, I'm going to be broke. I'm going to be living in the street if either Ohio State wins the title or we lose to Ohio State. But I'll tell you this right now. Unless we clean these things up, the penalties and the offensive lulls, we're not beating Ohio State. There's no way on God's green earth. Not beating that team unless you play a clean game. They're that good, and Miami's that good. But Miami has to tighten up those offensive lulls. Penalties are going to happen. Sometimes refs make bad calls. You're going to have lapses in concentration in a game. It happens, right? They're kids. But the offensive lulls, with the talent they have on this team, too many times the play calling, I scratch my head. I've never been a huge Shannon Dawson fan. Last year, I ripped him a lot. Cam Ward.
Great. See, listen, we'll have to agree to disagree. I'm a huge Shannon Dawson fan.
No, it's okay. Look, it's okay. But I think at times, if you really look and go through the sequences of play calling and you're looking at what they're doing, what are they doing here? That late game offensive play calling against Florida State when they let them back in the game, that should have been a 50-0 game. You know what I mean? And they just – I want to see the killer instinct more, and I want to see fewer of the offensive lulls, usually in that middle, second and third quarter. But those long drives, Alex, that take the air out of the football, pounding it, they're going to beat Louisville with those easily, right? And then you get to the play action and you hit some big plays. Tony and Daniels, I think, the best receiving duo in the country. Tony's the best freshman, by far, true freshman in the country. But the lulls on offense where too many 3-and-outs, letting other teams into games, in an ACC championship scenario against a Duke or a Georgia Tech, you could get stung by that. Yeah. But in a playoff, you're not going to win a game in the playoffs if you don't fix those offensive lulls and the penalties.
Yeah. And I know even in a game like tonight, I think you need to be sharper. I'm not going to say Louisville is the best team Miami has faced because I don't believe that. But I know the games are not played on paper. And so I do not want to see Miami shoot themselves in the foot tonight because these Friday night games can get wacky. And on that note, I need to get Gries's prediction when we come back. Miami Hurricanes, number 2 in the country. We got the Howard Schnellenberger boots on the line tonight. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new pregame episode of Locked On Canes. It's almost the weekend, and it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For your Miami Hurricanes, Malachi Toney has been delivering in a big way. Last time we saw our Canes against Florida State, Toney took over 100 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, had a third touchdown that was taken off the board for a questionable penalty. When the pressure is on, young Malachi Toney has come through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, that performance wasn't a fluke. Toney is on a streak. And just like baby Jesus delivered for the Miami Hurricanes, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period ends on November 18th. We're also brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. What do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla, riding a T-Rex? Confidence. Pure confidence. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Go Long. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Go Long. This is not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula so you can get hard and go the distance. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to RUGIET.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen. I am Alex Donno. We're joined by Gries himself, Jim Grieshaber, who, by the way, is going to be hosting the postcast tonight. Right after the game ends, he's going to be on Locked On Canes YouTube, Locked On Canes audio channels, breaking it down to what we like to call the postcasts. Gries, someone who means so much to this football program and means so much really to anyone who got a chance to be around him. Like I didn't know Howard Schnellenberger while he was coaching at Miami, but I did have opportunities to be around him and interview him many, many years later when he was at FAU. And then after he retired, he did a lot of media stuff with Miami, and an absolute legend who means so much to our football program, and he also means everything to Louisville's football programs. And so the trophy, this was created in 2023. Miami currently has this trophy after, winning the head-to-head last year. It's like an actual pair of Howard Schnellenberger's dress cowboy boots that they bronzed, an actual pair of boots that they bronzed, the Schnellenberger Boots trophy. Hopefully we can keep that thing in South Florida tonight.
Well, and it's been split the last 4 years, right? Two and two the last 4 meetings. And I want to just talk about my man Howard a little bit. The 2 nicest people I've ever met in the sport of football by far, and it's not close. And I've met Don Shula, I've met Jimmy, I've met some amazing coaches over the years, but number 1 and 2 of the greatest people I ever met in the sport, Bobby Bowden, man, salt of the earth, unbelievable guy, and Howard Schnellenberger. I was lucky enough to host a TV show with with Howard Schnellenberger and my guy, let's not forget my guy, Twan Russell, number 45, all right? Twan Russell, Kane and St. Thomas Aquinas Raider as well. But shout out to Twan. We did a show called The Locker Room Report for a couple of years in the early 2000s. And shout out to Jim Grimmel for putting it together. But I did a show. Howard would walk in, man, and you know what it was like when Howard would walk into a room. He commanded the entire room. He had the pipe. You could smell the pipe, the voice, Beverly, what are we doing on Tuesday? But he would give me advice, and he would help me. He would help me break down X's and O's. He told me I was fat back then. He told me you need to lose weight. You need to do this. He coached everyone. Everywhere he went, he was the coach. And look, 5 years at Miami, 10 years at Louisville, neither of these programs would ever have enjoyed the success that they've had without him. And for Louisville, that success is very different than Miami's success with all the national titles that we've won. But make no mistake about it, Louisville was Denny Crum. Louisville was basketball all the way, man. Championships, Final Fours for Louisville. Nothing about football, kind of like Indiana now with Coach Sig, right? Basketball school, football guy. Yeah, Sig just got $93 million. And when that happened, I couldn't help but think of Howard. So God rest his soul, that beautiful man he was. And make no mistake about it, the architect of the Miami Hurricanes football program. The guy who said, Jim Kelly, never mind Joe Paterno, you can play quarterback at Miami. And then what they do, they went to Penn State and beat him. That was Howard Schnellenberger. Sir. That was Howard Schnellenberger, the offensive coordinator for the only undefeated team in the history of the NFL, the Miami Dolphins. Built the Hurricanes program, built Louisville's program, and I'd love to see this statue be a bust of his face with the pipe, or at least the pipe, because the pipe was Howard more than the boots. But
yeah,
I also don't want to leave out my FAU friends, my guy Ken Levicka, who I do shows with on ESPN Radio, and the impact that Howard had on think about FAU, where they are now from a football standpoint. That was all Howard too.
With the boots on the line tonight, who you got, Gries, and what's your final score?
This is my easiest prediction of the year, and I've been dead on with everything. By the way, if FSU didn't make that late run and we didn't just somehow freeze offensively, my prediction would have been dead on in that game too. And if you look back and you watch them, I've been right there on every score. This one's not even close. Louisville will score in this game because it'll be meaningless and it'll be late, but I think Miami's going to hang 50 on them, and I don't think Louisville hits double digits. I'm amazed at all these people going 34-17, 24-10. You're crazy. Miami's hanging 50 on this team, and Louisville's not scoring double digits.
I'm crazy, but I'm also a little conservative, a little superstitious, because I'm going 31-17, but I'd love to win this game. I'd love to win it like 48-9 or something. Like I would love nothing more than that.
I'm going 52-6.
Woo!
They're gonna go for and miss.
And 52 is what we scored on them last year. Now, we gave up 45, which was a little frustrating. That's just how it was last season.
That's when
we scored 52 last year. We'll do it again this year. Yeah.
Right? What you want to talk about the coach of the year, the assistant coach of the year, and the unsung. I don't want to know. He's not unsung. The hero of this Miami coaching staff is Corey Heather. I mean, what an unbelievable job he's done. And I want to say one more thing. It's nice to hear Akeem Mesidor getting a lot more props in recent weeks, because in my opinion, and I'm just going to say it with everybody talking about Ruben Bain as a Heisman candidate and maybe winner, I think Mesidor is right there, bro. It's 1A and 1B. Yeah. I mean, it's a storm out there. We've never had a better pair of defensive ends, and that's saying a ton at the University of Miami.
Yeah, I want to see Mesidor end up in the first round of the draft. I mean, Ruben Bain is a lock at this point. Somebody asked me today how many first-round picks. Like, I could see up to 4 first-round picks with, Bain and Maui Noah are locks, basically. Beck has been playing like a first-round pick, hopefully. Yes. And I could see Akeem Mesidor getting in there as well. Well, we appreciate the time and the love, as always, from our man Gries, who's going to be hosting the postcast right after the game goes final late tonight between Miami and Louisville. Gries is going to have you covered. Thank you so much, my friend. We'll do it again next time, and it's all about the U.
Love you, Alex. Thanks.
I love it. We'll talk to everyone next time. Gries will talk to you right after the game on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.